Hello, my name is Gabe DeGroot. Today, I want to have a discussion about humanities. And specifically, in humanities, I want to talk about the French Revolution, King Louis XVI, his execution, and the guillotine. The reason I'm talking about this is because in my Humanities 2 class, I have to have a final project. And I figured that nothing would be better than just having a 5 to 10 minute discussion about a major part in world history and humanities. So sit back and please enjoy. Okay, imagine this for a second. Many angry French citizens barging into your home against your will, wreaking havoc in the place, and murdering you in a very violent way before your home is finally destroyed. This is how the guards felt in the Bastille in 1789. The reason they felt this way is because a huge mob of about 800 people came into the prison and brutally murdered all of them. And after they were killed, all the remaining prisoners that were in the Bastille were freed. This was the first event of the French Revolution, and it's the biggest symbol of a victory of the people over the French monarchy. This revolt of the Bastille became the revolution and has forever changed the country of France. After the revolt inside the Bastille, many things started to happen. For starters, a National Assembly voted on the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. This happened on August 26, 1789. The Declaration was pretty much just a set of rights for the people, and that included individual and collective rights. Many important people were a part of this, including Maximilien de Robespierre, Mirabeau, and Marquis de Lafayette. A little over a month after this happened, on October 5, 1789, King Louis XVI was literally forced out of his home by about 4,000 rioters. And it is important that I point out that the majority of the rioters were hungry women, and they were very angry because while their families were starving, King Louis was in his luxurious home eating whatever food he saw fit, wearing the most expensive clothes and jewelry, and sleeping on the most comfortable bed imaginable. After he was removed from his home, he was brought to Paris and stayed at the Tuileries under a very close watch by the revolutionaries. But before I go more into the French Revolution, let's learn a little bit about the king. In 1754, Louis XVI was born Louis Auguste, Duc de Berry. He was the son of Louis, Dauphin of France, and Princess Marie-Joseph of Saxony. At the age of 13, Louis's father died of tuberculosis, and his father was only the age of 36, not very old at all. But because he never got that old and his father was still in reign, he never got to see the throne and become the next king of France. Shortly after the death of his father, Louis's mother also passed from the exact same illness, and this left Louis and his 7 brothers and sisters orphans. After those tragic events happened, Louis and his siblings lived with his grandmother for about a year until, unfortunately, she died as well. He was determined to overcome all the unfortunate events and become the next king of France, since he was the oldest male of his remaining family, except, of course, the current King Louis XV. At the young age of 15, Louis married Marie Antonia of Austria. Even though she was only 14 years old, she agreed to do it in hopes of becoming the future Queen of France. About 5 years later, on June 11, 1775, Louis Auguste officially became Louis XVI and the King of France after the death of his grandfather, Louis XV. Since he was only 20 years old, he was still fairly naive and had no way to determine the awful situation that he would soon be put in. Many events and bad decisions during his reign would eventually lead to his apparent downfall. Now, let's get back to the revolution. After King Louis was practically held prisoner for almost 2 years, he and his family tried to flee to Austria, since that was the Queen's native country. On June 21st, 1789, the entire royal family dressed up as bread bakers or other type of merchants and used a horse-drawn carriage to get out of the city. After being gone for a decent amount of time, it became apparent that the royal family was gone. Since that was discovered, all this news spread across the entire country, and people started to run amok and try to figure out where the royal family had gone to. And as they were nearing the border of Germany, they were recognized and eventually captured. They came within a few miles of successfully escaping this rebellious country. And after they were escorted back to Paris, they were not greeted with open arms. The population of Paris considered them traitors, and they did not show them any sympathy whatsoever. On August 10th, 1792, about a year after the attempted escape by Louis, a large group of rioters stormed into the Tuileries and took Louis. And about 3 days after that, the king was officially arrested and sent to prison to await his trial. And during his trial with the convention, it was determined that Louis needed to be sent to the guillotine in January of the following year. His charges were high treason and crimes against the state of France. For those of you who do not know, the guillotine was a new type of execution device that the National Assembly voted into law in 1791. It was invented by Joseph Ignace Guillotine, a professor of anatomy in Paris. The reason that it was chosen as a new form of execution is because it was considered more humane, as the victim only felt a little tickle on the back of their neck before the head was cleanly cut off. Before the official execution of King Louis XVI, France became a new republic, and on January 21st, 1793, Louis was officially executed in front of the people of France, and as he was executed, they saluted his death because they knew that this was going to be the new beginning of a whole new era. After listening and reviewing this episode, I realized that I made a mistake. I told you that on June 21st, 1789, the entire royal family fled Paris in hopes to go to Austria, but I was incorrect. The actual date was June 21st, 1791. Well, I think that's all I have for you today. This information was brought to you by BastileDay.com, a great website about the French Revolution and all the events that took place during it. It also includes biographies of important people and also just small little facts and tidbits about stuff like the guillotine. They have their own section on that website just for the guillotine and other great things like that. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for listening.